I'm so excited for this first talk. I mean, Majola, as software engineers, we spend a lot of time testing our code, but can you imagine testing and experimenting in the real world on physical scooters?
I don't know, but it does sound like real serious business.
I see what you did there. All right, well, we are ready. They're ready. Please give a warm welcome to Unni and Harish.
Let's get it.
Hello. I'm clear and audible. Hey guys, how's it going? Awesome. I'm Unni. I lead the digital product studio at Ather.
Hi, I'm Harish. I lead the HMI design experiences at Ather.
So for you guys who don't know, Ather is an electric scooter company out of India. There are around 500,000 of Athers on road, and we get to design the experience on all of them. Before I get ahead of myself, I just want to kind of get some basics in place. For most of you guys here and guys joining us online, that's a scooter. Yeah? So something that you find downtown SF, something at a beach town, a little fun little thing. For people back home watching this, that's a scooter. It's bigger, it's faster, and it's a lot more emotional. In fact, it's how we travel across the city. It's how families travel across cities. It's how food gets delivered. It's how vendors head to their market.
And that's how my father used to come home for past 20 years.
Yeah, that's how emotional this is. So even cops chasing felons, all of that. That's all on our scooter. To get the scale of this, around 6.5 million scooters, that's what we sold last year in the whole of India. That's roughly 18K scooters a month. So it wouldn't be a stretch to say India fundamentally runs on two-wheelers, but Indian families run on scooters. And in those millions of scooters, 500,000 of them are riding the scooters we make and experiencing the features that we put around their everyday life. So there's the world of hardware, and then there's the world of software. Ather sits bang in the intersection of that. What does that mean? So from designing the first touchscreen on a dashboard to putting voice assistant in them, we get to design experiences that nobody's ever imagined before. And that's super exciting. Designing an interface that works in sunlight, rain, 80K mph. For you guys, that's 50 miles an hour. And stuck in traffic, and even sometimes being stolen.
Yeah.
All of that.
Everyone says their users are distracted. Trust me, our users are a lot more distracted. Like for good stuff like roads and where are they heading towards?
Like I said, it's pretty unique. And as a result, our processes are unique. Here's what happens, right? When I design an app or a website, you can proto it on Figma, take it to your user, test it, and you know whether your design and idea works. Our world is a little bit different. In fact, a lot more different. The ergonomics, the environment, the way the rider holds the handlebar, all of that matters. You can't fundamentally design sitting inside. You have to feel every single experience yourself on the scooter. And to feel it, you have to build it. That's the key difference. You don't just start from design and move into a prototype. You actually go through building software, and not just software. In fact, times go through taking it out of a factory. And that's the challenge. This process of design, build, and test, and then again iterate, that takes a lot of time. And that takes a lot of money from our pockets. In fact, the bigger cost to all of this is what we don't get to build. The ideas that are scrapped because it's too tedious to iterate and iterate. So then, that's the question. How do we get to validate our ideas, designs, when things are stacked up against us? We realized it isn't a tool, it isn't a process, it's a way of thinking. We'll get to that. And for the next 15 minutes, we're going to take you through how we figure these things out, our own little hacky way, how we figured this in a world where ideal tools just don't exist or ideal process just don't exist. For the first story, we are starting with moving things and not moving fast and not breaking things. Yeah, okay, that's a big fan there. This is a story of how we had to validate our ideas. It was super critical, and we couldn't get this wrong.
So for this project, we were designing with a new type of display. This time around, it was a segmented display, unlike the touchscreen displays we already had in our product line. A segmented display has these permanently etched segments. Each of these individual segments are controlled through software and can be interacted through physical switches. Just like this calculator. Except this calculator has to do all of these features, like your navigation, music, call controls, and everything else you will expect from a smart vehicle. For this, we had to design not just the interface, but also the physical switches along with this. So naturally, every concept we came up with had its corresponding switch, up, down, left, right, everything. So the UI architecture is actually dependent on the kind of switch you pick. The problem is we are designing it for the first time. How do we test this now, right? So we can test it with real users to see which one actually feels natural and safe behind the handlebar. But more than that, we want to test it ourselves, as we are doing this for the first ever time. So in the traditional way of doing things in the hardware world, we send one of our concept to a display vendor. The display first tools up the display, right? It takes around 4 months, and then we have to bring up the display. As I told, like software to bring it up, it takes another 2 months to do that. All in all, 6 months just to get your first concept in your hand. That's a lot of time for a one concept, let alone iterate. So clearly that option was out. We can run it on a laptop with a UI prototype and like probably use your keyboard to test it out. But again, we are designing a scooter. We need to have the real ergonomics, as Unni was talking about. Your screen position, your handlebar position, and your switches, everything matters a lot here. So then how do we test it? We decided, let's build something ourselves. Right? So here's what we built. So a test rig that runs completely outside the scooter. It mimics all the real-world interactions. But the best part is this is portable also. I can either test it on my table or on the road. Sunlight, rain doesn't matter at all for us. All the controls you can think of, you right from your switches, your throttle, all of these are present, so I can just go ahead and test it. You know what? We brought this rig all the way from Bangalore just to show you a quick demo. I'll just walk up to it. Yeah, I'm really excited about this. OK, if you see, we have your display, the segmented display which I was talking about. We have your switches and the throttle. Right? All of these work very well. So let's say if I start the vehicle, like right now the motor is off. You can see something is blinking here. It's asking me to turn on the vehicle. I can just press the start button. It turns on. I can change a couple of riding modes, like from ride eco. Or I can even like play music if I want to. We have your play controls. Everything is present here. Once I'm ready, all set, I can just press the throttle to start going now. Right? Your speed really reacts to the throttle. Right? So I'm sure you get the idea. Like there's a lot more we can do. But the thing is, this actually looks like it's part of the real scooter, right? Like a lot of people in my organization also think it's part of the real scooter. I'm sure like most of you might also be thinking the same. Except it's not. I have one more thing to show you. I just open this up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ta-da!
Thank you. This isn't a segmented display, guys. It's an iPad. Right? As the topic goes, we hacked it up. Right? So we just realized we just needed three things for us to make this happen, right? We needed a display, a few switches, and a way to wire them up. So first, for the display, we are using an iPad, which runs the UI prototype. Here, it's a Figma prototype which you're running here. Nobody noticed we borrowed few switches from our spare parts bin, and a $40 Arduino in the between to connect all these together. So once we put all of these together, your physical switches can send in analog signals into Arduino. The Arduino then converts them into keystrokes. Basically, we built a keyboard for ourselves in this format, right? So, and using that, we plug in this into the UI prototype, which is running on the iPad. So I can just use these switches to literally control the keyframes in my prototype. So with this, what started as months became, we can create few variations within hours and even minutes. We can test it on real people the same day, and then get the feedback, and then iterate on top of it. No vendors needed in between. And by the time we sent this to a vendor, we knew it was not just a design concept anymore. We knew it became a design spec. And then something nice happened. The rig actually outgrew the project. If you had seen this, this was part of the segmented display. That's what we started off with. We took it to the touchscreen world too, right? If you see, it's the same rig setup, but we also have a touchscreen which is provided by iPad. So we were able to test UI transitions even through touch, and also all the speed visualizations and all the cool features we were excited to see even before it hit the development. And it didn't stop there. Other designers in the studio actually took it up a notch. These guys started building this. Every day you walk into the studio, you see some new component adding up to it, right? Just like Legos, they kept on adding every component one at a time.
Just want to kind of give a, what do you guys see there as, that isn't a screen, that's just a mirror. Just flip so that we didn't have the time for another screen, so we kind of put a mirror to figure this out. You get the idea, it's just all hacks.
Yeah, mirrors for what reason? But yeah, it works, looked actually pretty cool. So servo motors, lights, all the components you can think of, it kept on adding on top of it. So this didn't stop as a validating tool, right? It became a tool to sell their dreams while having a lot of fun. So what started as a hack, the whole project, it became like how we design. The whole process just changed right after this. For the next project, Unni will be talking you through how we came up with a new way of interacting with our dashboard. This project, unlike the previous dashboard where we were designing for speed, this time it's about reaching a conviction.
Yeah. So in 2014, when we got in the touchscreen dashboard on a scooter for the first time, it opened a plethora of experiences like navigation, WhatsApp, call controls, all of that, all the good things came onto a scooter. But fast forward 2024, we wanted to take that even further. We wanted to make this experience available to our riders even while they're riding, while still it's safe. So to do that, we had to unlock another completely different kind of an interaction through voice. But here's the thing. We've been using Siri and Gemini, so we know how a voice assistant works. What we didn't know as a team was, how does a voice visualization work in the world of a scooter? It was very different. And that's the story that we're going to talk about next. So across, most voice visualizations look like this. In fact, all of them do, right? This is designed for the viewing distance of 10 to 12 inches, something that you can access from home, from office. But our world is this. Our world is at least a feet and two away. It had to be louder. It had to be simpler. It had to be glanceable yet. As a result, we thought, OK, here's our chance. Can we create a unique expression that's truly Ather and that's truly us? So we wanted to visualize the voice of our electric scooters with electrons. Electrons that could move, react, respond. At least that's how we imagined this when we put our heads together. So when you're questioning the general structure and try to create something new, it can go either ways, right? It can be really, really good, or it can go really, really stupid. But we said, we have to try this out. And we said, let's open Figma up. That's where we put together a lot of static frames. We even got a lot of cool ideas of how do we visualize this. Everything seemed interesting. We wanted to try all of them. So obviously, we moved it to the motion design team. We said, like, OK, we need to kind of breathe life into these ideas. And that's when it hit us that today's motion design tools are all optimized for craft and not exploration. What does that mean? It means that if I know an object needs to move from A to B, I can move that very beautifully, very seamlessly in any of the tools. But what we wanted is a tool for exploration. We didn't know where our A was or a B was, so we didn't know where to move these items. So we said, OK, what do we need? We need to be able to control the parameters of these particles, and we need to do them at speed so we can iterate and iterate and iterate. So like everybody else in 2025, we kind of reached out to the lords of Figma, Make, Claude, Gemini, all the AI possible. We kind of built a tool that lets us control all parameters of our visualization, from how many particles, to the size, to the frequency, to how intense it can get. And
trust me, this looks way better right now here. Like the original tool actually is horrendous.
We didn't want to put that out on config. But you can imagine, it had around 60 odd parameters just to play around, but it worked. The wormhole truly kind of opened for us. Dozens of versions, things that we would never have imagined, came alive. We knew the concept of moving electrons as a part of voice worked. Now the question shifted to which version. And to that, we added another piece where we added live voice input into the same tool, and the ability to visualize the wake, the listening, thinking, all the states of voice interaction. And suddenly, it just clicked. We were not anymore visualizing. We were actually experiencing how the rider would feel on the scooter. We knew which version exactly worked, and it was it. Once we knew it worked, we didn't stop. We said, OK, can we go the one extra mile and save a little time on animation? We said, add the feature of exploding to Lottie, and that's what we did. Something we didn't even imagine, shipping a Lottie directly to code. Just imagine the time saved, all the keyframes, all of that gone. The tool that answered one little question. The tool that answered one little question, that did the idea even work, or does it have it in it to become the future, became our whole pipeline, from exploration to conviction, and then to even shipping. This is what the tool looks like. Sorry, this is what the visual looks like.
Hello. What are we doing today?
Yeah, we just shipped it last week. Yeah.
So this is thank you. Yeah, this is just 2 weeks ago. We just kind of shipped it. If you are in India, if you have an Ather, you should try this out. This, again, happened because one designer chose not to wait. And that was the biggest win that came out of this project for us. This little thought became contagious within the team. We started building things that we wish existed. We were not waiting anymore. We started building things like a light composer. So directly your lighting of the scooter being directly controlled by laptop, no devs needed in between. Something like a haptic composer. You guys know the libraries out there. It's never enough, right? So we said, OK, can we just draw on a canvas, and can that be captured as haptic? And that's what we built then. And even as simple and as fun as a nameplate generator, for anybody who joins our team new, we said, can we just type in the name, and it gives a 3D printable file? So that's what it was, where there were 3 different problems, but the idea is still the same. So to the question of how do we validate when validation gets hard, when things are stacked up against your processes, what we realized is not a rig. It is definitely not a tool. It was a way of thinking, and that is what we want to share with you going forward. So first, see the invisible problem. Once you stop and start seeing the invisible problem, you'll realize these are things that, sorry, just give me a second. Yeah, your throat kind of dries up. Yeah. So, bye-bye. So once you see this, it's very difficult to unsee. Problems like, OK, this doesn't fit the timeline. It takes a lot more time. There is a factory pipeline in between. Once you start saying, there got to be a better way, you're already halfway through solving the problem. Next, break it down. Break it down to the smallest possible problem. The rig wasn't this one big seamless solution. It was just the right problem solved in the right order. And finally, step out of your JDs. It is true today than more than ever. The tools that you process, the tools that you have, the processes that you use, the roles that are defined, none of them defines what's possible. It's completely up to you to where to draw the line. And these three things, observing the problems, breaking it down, and stepping out, all of them sit on one big piece, a belief that you need to be naive to kind of go and say, I can fix this. And you don't need big budgets. You don't need permission. You just need an afternoon, a lot of stubbornness, and a whole lot of duct tape. That was our time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.